Hello everyone and welcome to my Good Morning Britain channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. In a move that has stirred both curiosity and concern across Westminster, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has refused to rule out potential tax rises, even if they would go beyond Labour's election manifesto commitments. The revelation has ignited debate about whether Starmer's government is preparing the public for a tougher economic reality or testing the limits of political trust. During a tense press briefing, the Prime Minister was asked repeatedly whether voters could rely on Labour's manifesto promise not to raise taxes on working people. Instead of a firm denial, Starmer offered a careful, almost lawyerly response, suggesting that responsible decisions may be needed to ensure Britain's financial stability. It was enough to set alarm bells ringing in both the Treasury and households across the country. A delicate balancing act. Starmer has built much of his reputation on discipline, moderation, and pragmatism, the steady hand steering Britain after years of political turbulence. Yet, his refusal to categorically rule out tax hikes marks a shift in tone. Sources close to Downing Street say that Starmer and Chancellor Rachel Reeves are grappling with a sobering reality: ballooning national debt, an aging population, and crumbling public services in desperate need of investment. For Reeves, whose fiscal strategy is based on iron discipline, the math simply doesn't add up without new revenue streams. Insiders describe growing tension within the cabinet over how to balance Labour's ambitious spending commitments, from rebuilding the NHS to reforming energy policy, with the tight fiscal rules the government has promised to follow. One senior Labour aide put it bluntly: "You can't fix a broken country with empty pockets." Echoes of past promises. Starmer's hesitation recalls the political storms faced by past leaders who walked a similar tightrope. Voters still remember the fallout from previous governments that promised not to raise taxes, only to do so once in office. For Starmer, the risk lies in appearing evasive or untrustworthy, especially after pledging a new era of integrity and honesty in British politics. Yet, his defenders argue that realism must replace rhetoric. With inflation only just cooling and the cost of living crisis still biting, the government faces limited room for maneuver. Starmer, they say, is simply refusing to make empty promises that could box him in later. Political analyst Sarah Hunter noted, Starmer's message isn't about raising taxes, it's about not tying his own hands. In a volatile economy, flexibility may be more honest than false reassurance. Public reaction, uneasy but divided. Among the public, reactions have been mixed. Some voters see Starmer's caution as a sign of maturity, an honest recognition that economic repair won't be painless. Others feel uneasy, fearing that tax rises could soon mean higher income tax, council tax, or even changes to national insurance. Business leaders, too, are watching closely. Many are urging the government to prioritize growth over taxation, warning that further financial burdens could stifle investment and job creation. However, unions and social justice groups argue that the wealthiest should contribute more to rebuild essential services, pointing to record corporate profits and widening inequality. The political gamble. For Starmer, this may be the first major test of his post-election leadership. His critics on the Conservative benches have seized on his words, accusing Labour of preparing to break its promises within months of taking power. Tory MP Grant Shapps called it the first crack in the mask of Labour's so-called fiscal responsibility. But Starmer, ever the cautious strategist, seems unshaken. His team insists that any fiscal decisions will be guided by fairness and stability, suggesting a potential shift toward more targeted taxation, perhaps on wealth, capital gains, or non-domiciled individuals, rather than broad-based increases that hit ordinary workers. The road ahead. As Britain faces rising costs in healthcare, education, and infrastructure, the question of who pays, and how much, will define Starmer's premiership. His refusal to rule out tax rises is not just a political moment, it's a signal that the easy answers are gone. The Prime Minister appears to be betting that voters, after years of economic shocks and empty promises, are ready for a dose of truth. But honesty in politics can be a double-edged sword. If Starmer does raise taxes, even in limited form, he risks alienating those who believed Labour's manifesto was a line in the sand. For now, Britain waits, watching a leader walking the fine line between fiscal realism and political peril. And as Starmer himself might put it, the choice ahead is not between popularity and principle, but between short-term comfort and long-term repair.